Hi, I'm Larry Dignan from Constellation Insights, and we're going to give you a handful of projects to watch. This is going to be an ongoing series because I see a lot of these IT transformation projects going on in the background. And, these things sort of happen in installments. And then, after a year or two, you sort of get the big bang case study. But in the meantime, these are just fun things to watch and track over time. First one is PayPal. PayPal has this great big vision for being an agentic commerce platform. What's that mean exactly, aside from the agentic buzzword? It basically means that they can connect the merchant, the consumer, and all the stuff that happens in between. And then they plan on layering on all the decision support, the content, that kind of stuff. The catch here is before they do any of this, there is a huge transformation to happen. As you may or may not know, PayPal's been built by acquisition in a lot of ways. Braintree, Venmo's the probably best known sub brand. All these things operate in different silos, data silos. So what they're doing, they're basically combining into one consumer platform, and they're basically combining cloud native applications. But the trick here is they have to all get all these applications, all these businesses on one platform, in a cloud native way, so they can leverage AI. So here's a look at the timeline. If you look at this extends into next year, and then they'll leverage AI completely. So it's kind of a common theme we see out there, but PayPal is definitely a high profile one to watch. The other one is Bank of America. If you recall, if you're a Bank of America customer, you know this thing called Erica. It's basically it's basically a customer support tool that was built on RPA, a few other technologies. This is pre-generative AI. So what they're doing now is they're basically turbocharging Erica, and they're using it internally too. So the customer support people have it now. So they're basically taking what was a customer support tool, a customer experience tool, and leveraging internally too. So on the recent earnings, they talked about Erica, they talked about digital use cases, and they're basically leveraging AI to basically boost margins and all that stuff. As far as what happens to Erica in the future, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think it's going to be a little bit like Alexa Plus. Alexa was kind of cool there for a while, and now Alexa's getting a brain transplant, and with LLMs is supposed to be much better. I expect Erica to be a similar thing, whether it's internally, externally, etc. So that's another interesting project to watch. The other project to watch is Citigroup. So if you've been following the Citigroup story at all, it's a game of transformations. This company's been transforming for years. That's because they've had a gazillion systems. They're trying to get it down to one or two or three, at least a handful, and they're moving to a common platform. So then AI happens, and Citigroup sees a way to basically leverage everything out and have like a common chassis. And this is driving real returns now. They're definitely getting more efficient. It's a great timeline. They're using Google Cloud for a lot of their data and AI layer. But when you see this, it's a transformation that's taken over years and years. And the big lesson here is you have to do all that grunt work to even get to the point where you can use AI. But, if you look at what we'll post behind me, cities, it's embracing AI as a universal enabler. And first, they're going across the stack, across the all company for common functions. And now they're to the point where they're going to, do all these industry use cases, whether it's wealth management or whatever. But it's a project, it's a set of project in a longer timeline of transformation. Definitely worth watching over time. They pretty much update you every quarter. And they consolidate a bunch of systems. But it's an interesting mix of the new stuff and retiring tech debt on the back end. The other project worth watching over time is Walmart. They're doing a lot of AI for not only customer experience, but bridging their various sales channels and supply chain optimization. So there are Walmart distribution centers that are largely AI-driven, robotic, and they've launched a few interesting things that'll be interesting to see how they turn out. One's called Sparky. It's an AI shopping assistant. One is trend to product, where they can basically find the signals in the data, leverage trends, gear up inventory and go with it. And this matters for fast fashion and those sort of things. There's the Just Go checkout, which is rolling out at Sam's Clubs. They're rolling that everywhere out. And then there's a thing called Wally, which is an AI assistant that for merchants to basically figure out when inventory needs to be updated. Ultimately, it's going to evolve into a AI inventory agent. And it's going to be fascinating to watch to see how that optimizes things. The other backstory with, Walmart's another one. It's a bunch of little projects and one big master plan. And when you look at how they're optimizing, you should check in with Walmart pretty much every quarter to see what they're doing. And the final one I'll throw out there is Bank of New York Mellon. So they kind of was news to me, but I checked out their earnings transcript and earnings report, and they talked about building out this platform called Eliza, and they're basically getting a lot of efficiencies out of it internally. They're skilling up a lot of their employees to use these assistants. But the thing that caught my eye with this project is it is basically built on OpenAI technology. So if you've been following OpenAI, they get the attention for search and commerce and their models and all that kind of stuff. The reality is they do have some big enterprise deals where they're sort of tailoring their technology for industry use cases. And Bank of New York Mellon's one of those, flagship customers. So that's a project worth watching just to see how the OpenAI turns out. Because the other, you see a lot of these enterprise projects, they're betting on multiple models. It's pretty clear Bank of New York Mellon is, they basically put most of their horses on with OpenAI. And that's a big bet worth watching just for future reference. And that's the handful of projects we're checking out now. Call that the May edition. We'll be back in a month with a few more. Thanks for watching.